How is the Texas business community reacting to the end of the legislative session? KXAN Morning News anchor Tom Miller spoke with Austin Business Journal editor Paul Thompson about what passed, what did not, and the consequences.
What bills were businesses following most closely at the state legislature?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Some of the big ones that businesses were looking at involved economic incentives, Chapter 313, which is a statewide incentives program, expanded telemedicine, broadband access, expanded broadband access, tort reform for commercial vehicular accidents, if you can believe it, and COVID liability shields for businesses. Those were some of the big ones that people were looking at coming into the session, but obviously some things flipped on their heads as the session went along, especially with Winter Storm Uri.
And were those bills that ended up passing, or did some of those have an end that they hadn't hoped for?
Yeah, so some of those ones I mentioned did. Expanded telemedicine, broadband, the tort reform, the liability shields for businesses related to COVID. One of the big ones that didn't get passed was the renewal of Chapter 313. Those incentives did not get through the legislature and are set to expire in 2022. So that means that we're going to have this sort of revenue generating program which will not be around beyond that date. So you might see an influx of businesses applying for that program in the coming months and even year plus. So that's one thing to watch out for. It just didn't have quite enough momentum down the stretch. I think it was a big surprise for a lot of folks that were expecting that one to pass. And I can guarantee you, based on sources that we've been talking to, that advocates for that program will continue to try to pass measures in the future to try to get a statewide economic incentives program back in the rulebook.
Paul Thompson with the Austin Business Journal, we appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for your time.